Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Megan Waldrop podcast. I'm your host, Megan, and today we're going to dive in and talk about Joe Dispenza. If you've been in the self-improvement space, you may have heard of Dr. Joe Dispenza. And first of all, let me just say, if you're new here, welcome. And if you've been here for a while, I love you. I'm so glad you're back. Let's get into it. So Joe Dispenza, he has some incredible philosophies, insights on how to retrain our brains into thinking more lovingly, more abundantly, bringing more joy into our lives, how to break old traumas. I mean, the list goes on and on. I'm not even scratching the surface. He has many books, I've read them all. He has incredible meditation events that I have yet to try and attend, and I cannot wait to one day. And I have a couple of his meditations recorded, and for months I would do them every single morning. And since then I have incorporated other meditation techniques, but it is always really interesting to learn from different teachers to see what works for you and maybe what you want to shift and try something in the future. But what I love about Dr. Joe Dispenza is his theory on the mind. He has a book called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, and this is such a great one. And it's one of the ideas that I've learned from him is that sometimes we don't fall into old patterns because we want to necessarily. It's because we fall back into them because our bodies have memorized it. And I've talked about this before. Feeling safe can feel scary at times because we're not used to feeling calm on a Monday or Tuesday. We're not used to feeling calm during the weekday. We feel like we have to earn it. We feel like we won't get it until we're on vacation. But it's not true. We can implement this into our everyday lives. And this is how we do it. It takes work, it takes repetition. But where are you going to be a week, a month, a year from now if you don't just try and just see what happens? I mean, why not? God willing, we have another year. So let's just see what else is going on, or just try it out for like a month, 3 months, 6 months, like nothing too overwhelming. But just kind of implement these kind of things if you want. Of course, this is all an invitation. Never going to tell you what to do, obviously. So when he talks about how, we fall into old patterns, not because we want to, but because our body has memorized these past emotions, it's because our body gets used to these certain feelings of stress, frustration, guilt, or worry. And eventually our body starts running the show on that kind of fuel. It's almost like the body becomes the mind. That's why when we wake up, we immediately feel stressed. The amygdala clicks on and make sure that do we feel any threats? And then the body's like, yeah, here's some threats that you had yesterday and the day before. And so this is our go mode. But this is how we can retrain ourselves. So even if we intellectually want something different, our nervous system, our body, the internal control panel of our body keeps pulling us back to this same emotional state because it's familiar, even though it doesn't feel great. It feels familiar. And that's what it knows. And so Dr. Joe calls this the habit of being yourself. And the work is learning how to interrupt that habit, or as he likes to say, how to break that habit. So, step one, become aware. You hear this a lot in awareness. Even this is huge with even addiction. I talk, personally about my addiction and how for years I was definitely aware that I had a problem with drinking, and it took me a long time to actually face that. And I've talked about on the podcast in the past. I'll talk about it in the future if this is something that you're interested in. But yeah, over 10 years ago, I quit drinking, and it took me years to even get to that point of wanting to put it down, like to actually not ingest that alcohol. So what did I do first? I became aware. Even though it took me years to get to that place, at least I had that awareness. And I think in AA, they even say what is it? First step is knowing you have a problem. It's the same type of concept. So step one in this Joe Dispenza, become aware. The first step is simply catching it happening in real time. So you notice your triggers, what situations or conversations or thoughts seem to pull you back into that familiar emotional pattern. For me, it would be social media and the news. So I quit the news. Social media I do for my business, but I will, sometimes I get lost in the scroll and I have to catch myself. But then I'm aware, I'm like, okay, you're scrolling right now, put down the phone. Or if I keep going and then I feel like crap 10 minutes later, I'm like, that's because you were aware of what happened. But that's okay. It's the awareness is a muscle. To even build that awareness is a huge, amazing thing. So Just notice, what are my triggers? What brings me into this state of, disarray or feeling unbalanced? So instead of judging that and be like, God, I can't believe I did that again, you just watch it and be like, oh, this is a trigger for me. It's almost like you're a fly on the wall of your own life, of your own body. You're kind of stepping back and be like, huh, this person triggers me. This quote unquote friend pushes me in this way. That's interesting. What am I going to do about this? So when you catch yourself slipping into that old emotional loop, frustration, anxiety, whatever it is, you just interrupt it. And what Dr. Joe says is you literally pause and say in your mind, change, and then shift your body into feeling change. I'm not going down that. I'm not going into that rabbit hole. So you're breaking that automatic pattern. And let me tell you a funny story. I have said change out loud second, like second after second. Sometimes I had to get out of this hole. I'm like, change, change, change. But it's best. What works the best is to do it as soon as you catch yourself, change. Like then you can pull yourself out of it. If you go too far down the spiral, it will take a little bit longer for you to pull yourself out naturally because you're digging deeper and you're like, oh, I'm down this hole. Okay, that's okay. I can climb back out. I just got to regulate my nervous system. I just got to bring my body back to calm. But once you feel yourself shifting, say change, you're like, oh, going to start thinking a different thought pattern. You got this. Okay. Step 2, start the day as the person you want to be. I put this in my meditations in the morning too. This is great. It's using meditation and as a mental rehearsal. It's not escaping your life, but it's practicing living as the person that you are inside and who you want to be in the outside, like how you want to react. How would this person, this higher self, react in this situation? What would this higher self do in this situation? Would they pick up this drink? Would they do these drugs? Would they talk to this person? Would they over consume media, video games, sex, whatever it is? Would they go exercise? Would they eat right? Would they, talk to this person in this way? It's interesting. It's like a way to, yeah, practice being the person that you know you are and that you want to actually, I don't want to say be because you already are that person inside, but how you want to uh, forward face in your life, like how that person would want to move through life. So instead of waking up and remembering who you were yesterday, you spend a few minutes thinking about how you want to step into that person. And so, and I've mentioned this before, it's, most of us think we want the things, we want the vacation, we want the beach house, we want the money, but actually what we want is what those things represent to us and what we think those things will give us. We think they're going to give us ease, we think they're going to give us freedom and joy. And the idea is that we can practice these feelings now emotionally. So you can mentally rehearse your future self until your body starts to feel those emotions in the present. And even just 1 minute is enough to start this. And as I've mentioned before, it compounds. Every time you practice, you're doing the reps, it builds, it builds. It will become easier. It will become more of a natural flow. And even if some days feel harder than the last days and you feel like you're going backwards, you're not. This resistance is actually showing you that you're moving along at a great, beautiful pace. You're never behind. You're always on divine timing. Step 3, change the emotional state. So you can't create a new future while living in the emotions of your past. Just going to let that land. We can't hope for these beautiful ease, joy, freedom futures if we're still reacting as we were in the scarcity mindset of worry, anxiety, fear, anger. We can't become that lighter version of ourselves if we're too busy wallowing in the darkness. And the darkness are lessons. It's nothing to be ashamed of. These are the lessons for us to build off of. This is what life is. Life is that balance. It's as if, there's no Batman without the Joker. There's no Spider-Man without the Green Goblin, the villain in Spider-Man. those have to exist together in order to give the light the strength. The light isn't the light unless there's darkness. So let's look at our shadow selves, as some say. Let's look at this, past, if you have regrets, any kinds of feelings of, man, I wish I wouldn't have done that. These are all stepping stones. These are all ways that we learn, well, yeah, I'm not going to do that again because I've learned my lesson. They do not define us. These are just ways to figure out our path. This is like just little rocks in our way or boulders in our way that we stumble over to get on our smoother path. So you can, throughout the day, you can ask yourself, how would the version of me I'm becoming respond right now? Kind of mentioned this in step 2 before, but how would the person who is the highest version of me react to this person, or tackle this to-do list, or work on this project, or record this podcast? How would the person of my highest version be in this moment? And these small shifts move you from survival mode, from that stress and fight or flight, into a more creative state where change is actually possible, because you're like, oh, what would that person do? How can I move into that state? They would probably not feel stressed about this. They probably wouldn't be worrying about the future. They probably would feel that they have all the money that they need to get what they need and want. They would probably feel that all possibilities exist however they want it. They would feel confident. They wouldn't feel that they are defined by others, how others view them. The list goes on and on. And the thing is, number 4, step 4, expect discomfort. I love this part because it just reassures that we're doing things right and it's okay to feel resistance. This is the important part. When you stop feeding those old emotional patterns, your body might slash will resist it. You might feel restless, you might feel anxious or uncomfortable or frustrated. And according to Dr. Joe, that's actually a good sign, because it means you're stepping out of the familiar and into the unknown. And that's where the change happens. So when you start feeling these feelings of, I don't know if this is working, I'm not sure if I'm doing this right. I skipped yesterday, or did I do it long enough? Am I actually doing this correctly? Am I saying the right things? All of this resistance means that you're doing it correctly. That means you're working against the system in the best way possible. You're disrupting that system to create more beauty, more ease, more joy, and more freedom. Step 5, consistency over perfection. What is that saying? What is that saying about perfection? Anyway, we'll get back to it, but consistency over perfection. Wait, now I want to think about it. Oh, practice. What is it? Practice makes perfect. No, 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 no. It's practice makes progress. That's where we're going here. Consistency over perfection. Practice makes progress. This isn't a one-time thing. It's a daily practice. Sometimes it's hourly. Sometimes for me, it was minute for minute, every second for second. I'm not even kidding. Every time you notice yourself slipping back, you just reset and start again. Be like, oh, I'm starting again. Change, change, change. Like, I was making myself laugh. I said change like 20 times. I had let myself go down that hole way too deep. And so I had to climb out of it. But just know it takes reps, it takes daily practice, and not in a way that seems overwhelming. It's in a way that becomes just like you make coffee or tea every morning, or you feed your dog or cat, or you feed your family, or you feed yourself every day. You brush your teeth. This is something that can be done during these moments too, whenever you're brushing your teeth. What would that person do in this situation? And over time, that new emotional state becomes more familiar than the old one. And I promise this works. It's not instantly going to fix everything in one day. Over time, this will become your natural rhythm. You're naturally going to feel this way and be like, you know what? It actually feels way better to believe that things are working out for me in ways that I can't expect or explain. I like that. Oh, I'm starting to slip. Whoop. I'm going to go back into this beautiful home that I'm building for myself, with all these beautiful pictures on the wall and the plants in the garden. And it's all of these seeds that I've planted for myself to feel more joy, more freedom, more ease. And so let's bring it home. So here's the question that I've been sitting with all the time. It's what version of me do I want to step into? And what would happen if I practiced being this woman for 30 seconds at a time? I practice this on my daily walks. I will go on a walk and I will literally start walking as the woman that I know I am and the higher version of myself. How would that higher version of me walk? How would she carry herself? What's the cadence? Are her shoulders back? Her face to the sun, a smile on her face? How would this version of me float through the world? Just 30 seconds of practice. It's really fun. It's like playing make believe when you're a kid, you're dressing up and you're like, okay, let's play pretend. But this way, this pretend compounds. This is the good stuff. This is the stuff. It's like, let's just have fun with this. How would the person that I ultimately want to be in life, how would they feel? How would they act? How would they step into this moment? And let me see if I can practice this for 30 seconds at a time. And eventually it's going to, maybe I'll try it for a minute. Maybe it's only for one or two steps, and that's okay because you can start again. You can just pick it up where you left off. So, how do we break these old patterns? How do we carve these new neural pathways in order to live the life that we truly want every single day and not have to wait for a vacation or a weekend or a big celebration? So, I'm going to go through the steps one more time. Step one, become aware. Notice whenever you start to slip. Step two, start the day as the person you want to be. You wake up not remembering who you were yesterday, but you spend a few minutes thinking about who you want to become or who you are, how do you want to live more ease, freedom, and joy? Number three, change the emotional state. Whenever you feel yourself moving into that fight or flight, say change. How would the version of me I'm becoming respond right now? Step four, expect discomfort. Know that whenever you feel resistance, it is working. You're doing it right. You got this. Okay. Number five, consistency over perfection. Practice this daily when you're brushing your teeth, when you're going on a walk. See what it's like. How do I step into this version of myself, the highest version of myself? How do I not go down that path? Oh, yeah, I say change. Then what would that highest version of myself, how would they be today? How would they be in this moment? Thank you so much for this quickie. I hope this unlocks something for you today. It's interesting. I've read all his books, and then recently I've been studying with other people and other teachers, and I needed a refresher from Joe Dispenza to kind of have a review. And it's interesting too, because these are the same types of lessons that you learn in so many different teachings, so many different spiritual teachings, religious, mindfulness, uh, any kind of thing that talks about neuroscience. These are all very, very similar reflections of each other. It's just which ladder do you want to go up to understand it, or which book do you want to read, literally, or which tree, what fruit do you want to pick to consume to actually understand the lessons more. And sometimes we need to go back and learn them again. And I love that they all reflect one another because it just validates that they all are very true and tried and true in the sense of if you try it, it will become true for you. We can do the reps. We can do this and unlearn and become our highest selves. And it just happens with everyday practice. 3 breaths, 30 seconds, whatever you got. This is building towards your beautiful future of ease, joy, and freedom. Thank you for being here. And if this hit for you, I would love to know it. And I'd love to know if you'd like to hear anything else on this types of subjects or anything that's been going on for you. You can email me directly at support@meganwaldrop.com. I'll link it'll be in the show notes. And also, please comment on YouTube. I'm waving to you right now. I'd love to know how this hit. And if you'd love to support the show, I'd be so grateful if you subscribed, if you took a minute to leave a 5-star review and a few sentences on why you like being here and having these incredible discussions, because it really helps others to learn more about the show. And this is such a great way for us to connect too. And I would love to. And if you leave a review, please email me, screenshot it and email me, and I'll send you a little something. just a little something from me to you is a big thank you. And yeah, I appreciate your time. So take care, y'all. Happy breathing. And until next time.